Thanks for staying with us. So, over the weekend, a Twitter user caught our attention. They talked about the fact that users, people who have good acts, but unfortunately their good acts are perceived or received as negative. According to one of them, he says that he spent 400,000 naira to buy food stuff for the needy in his neighborhood, just to hear later that he's using the money for, he's using that for money rituals. And we got lots of stories, very related stories like that, where people try to do good. People think they're trying to renew some kind of Nollywood movie of, okay, let me not say Nollywood. They're trying to renew some kind of ritual practice. You know, and it reminded me, and it was important, as funny and as silly as it sounds, it's very prevalent in our society where people misconstrue your good deed for evil. And it's something we need to talk about. And one of the responses responded, some of those responding said that, let's not pretend as if it doesn't really happen. That it actually happens. So when people are afraid of it, it's not because there's no iota of truth or possibility in that statement.
I don't know.
What are your thoughts on this? Is that what our society has become, where we can't even do good without people misconstruing it for evil? Call us on 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC, hashtag YourViewTVC, and send us messages on YouTube and Facebook. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So, not too long ago, I was invited to a party, and I mentioned it to a friend, and the person said, that person's doing the party. No, I'm not going, no. He's going to use us for ritual matters. You don't know the kind of food they're going to serve at that party. I said, really? He said, no, bro, don't go to that party. That person, they're notorious. Don't go out. Even if you go, don't eat anything because you never know. And I'm thinking to myself, so me, I wanted to go and have fun at the party. And I got to the party. I was like, hey, and I was seeing correct food. But because this my friend had already planted a seed in my mind, I said, that person, don't go to their party. Say, how do we receive good works of people? Let me start with you, Maria.
Yeah, I don't, it's not even how do you receive. It's really about, okay, so it's not only about people who talk about rituals. It's also in little things. Somebody you do good, someone comes to you and asks you for, help, and you give the person looks at you and thinks that the person, you could have done better. They don't care that you have made a sacrifice to do that. They don't know what your challenges are behind the scenes. They just see you, they make an assumption about you, and you do the best that you can, and they think you should have done better. And they call you stingy. That one that hardly gives, that one that never gives, that one that when they give, they do never give enough. Do you understand? So I just also think it's an entitlement mentality. We expect so much from people except ourselves. We expect people to give us so much, and we don't give them the grace, no gratitude, nothing for that. Concerning the ritual part of it, I think it's a lot of, because I have never seen anyone, I don't know how they renew things. I don't know. I have never seen anyone do that. The only places that I've seen it is how it is, shown in different movies. And I think, when we watch movies, sometimes we try to learn lessons from that. And I guess that's why we're constantly talking about that our film industry should do better and send better messages, more positive messages. Because in the end, really, it really determines how a group of people think, their mindset.
Right.
So it's good that we pay attention to the good that we receive. There's to say something about, my heart is clean, so this will not affect me. Where is that? Yeah. So if you were not meant to be, you are not a bad person, you haven't done bad, and someone offers you something, according to our Nigerian and African belief is that if I was not involved in it, yes, we'll go back to the person in the first place. But for me, it comes from a place of ingratitude, where someone goes out of their way to do their best for you. And instead of you to be thankful for it, it's pride to say, well, after all, this is what the person is trying to do. It's really for their own benefit instead of mine.
Interesting. What are your thoughts on this topic?
I've seen a lot of this. Seen too much of it, Seth. People have this mindset, whether or not you like it. So from my background, kindness is a ritual. Forget it. It is, to do sadaqah is deliberate. It's an act of worship. It's a ritual to God, whether you like it or not. So we give. Giving is good. And growing up, my mom, I was a grinder's child. She had a grinding mill. And so we, in our building of 12 flats, would grind beans and make akara for the entire building every weekend. That's how I grew up. Anybody that is in the shop is supposed to peel the beans, grind it. My mom is frying akara, and all the family is interested at bringing their coolers to take akara. And so when I got married, I started doing it, as you know, and it bonded us because those people, we moved from neighbors to family. So I started doing it with my neighbor, and I did the first one, she took it. The second one, the third one, she come and say, beg no verse. Then tell you make it, they do something because you never born, you know. And
imagine that.
She asked me if it was for a purpose, and I was like, but because I had seen it. Some people, they would bring puff to them, maybe in remembrance of a loved one. They'll say, no, it's ritual, I'm not eating it. I would sit down, buy fizzy drinks those days. I would done the whole food because in my house, it was a norm. My mom, even where she moved to, it was normal. And my mom thinks that for you to get the grace that you get from God, you need to give to those who don't have.
Yes.
If you don't give it, apart from us being Muslims and it was preached, she will push it into your ears till you go deaf. So if you don't give, when you have something, she say, maybe you are tight-fisted. You don't ask for God's grace. God is giving you, yet you cannot give. So I thought it was normal. But I heard people who would say, someone once turned back food from my family and said, no, tell your mom I'm tired of this thing. What is it for? I said, thank you. I did not take it home. I sat somewhere and ate it up.
This thing is from our religiosity because, especially for those of us in the Christendom, you know, many Christians don't eat salami because they feel like, oh, it's a sacrifice. So it's part of that thinking of, what is this objective? Why would you just fry akara and start distributing?
What if there was an objective? What if, like in that case, that person knew I was asking God for a child?
So why would you not say
do you have a problem with me asking God for a child and giving you something? If God...
And don't use their own child to get your child.
Is it if it was premeditated that, okay, if I'm kind to you, God will out of that grace bless me with the child? Do you want to block it? I don't get it.
Now, talking about that, I remember growing up, for me, where I grew up, there were lots of Hausa Muslims. So it was normal. My grandma was the mama of the Angua. So when it was Christmas, she would cook and we would go from house to house and we'll take food, rice and chicken to every house. And if my grandma should miss a house, they will come and meet her. Oh, so you did not send rice to us. And when it was Salah, we would get all the rice and stew from different houses. Our house was full. And then other Christians who were not maybe so well-known or popular in the street, we would take to them. People used to come to our house to just collect food. And then there was this big tray. We used to always sit down. My grandma would put rice and chicken and we'd sit down. All of us, did not matter your religion, your ethnicity, we would all eat from the same plate. But what I noticed, which I see is a bit different here, was there was another sect of Islam that came and they were a lot more, into, no, I don't want to use that. There were a lot more, they believed that there were some things that they should be separate. And my grandma would send us to those houses to give food, and they would not collect the food, and they would send it back to us. We bothered my grandma, and I remember some of her friends come and say, is this sector? They have said it is not right for us to eat food from Christians. But when I came here, I hear people say that Christians actually don't take food from Muslims, which was not my story. But I have seen, yes. But also, I remember there was one time I was at, you know, it was here in Lagos, I saw that behavior. I'd never seen it before. This person I'd never met before saw me at a fast food restaurant, stood beside me while I was ordering, and then followed me to the car and said, I'm so hungry. I went in there hoping I can get a meal. I'm so hungry. Can you help me? And I think I gave the person 500. The person looked at me and said, only this. I was in shock. I have never seen, because where I come from, when you give people something, no matter how small, they are grateful for it. So I just always felt that Lagosians are different. You know, for them, it's not only about giving. You have to give it and expect it.
But you see, that's called fanbara. Those ones negotiate what they
you see, I mean, growing up, many of you know that I grew up a Muslim. So, like, I think, because I was a Muslim as a child, and I was a Christian as an adult. And the difference that I saw was that in Christianity, you wait until the church or the pastor says, we want to give towards this, or there's this orphanage, or you know, there's welfare offering. But as a Muslim, it was part of your daily thing. Like, it was what we do. Is, you know, no imam needs to remind you. It's every single day you're constantly giving. And giving was almost like my mom would buy food, even the birds.
Or even the birds.
When I was a child, we used to feed the birds. We used to buy sesame seed. And they will come all over. You see thousands of birds. I mean, she doesn't allow anybody to go there because for the birds. She kept it clean.
Wow.
She kept it very, very clean. It was normal for her. Then giving out to go to Carlo Street, it was normal for us to just cook excess food.
And give.
And give. But when we became a Christian, we'll wait for the church to instruct us or to tell us, okay, oh, this weekend we are going for an outreach. Yeah, come and donate something. And I think that was where the difference is. But either way, the culture, the real conversation we're talking about is the fact that doing good now is not accepted as good anymore. People feel that there's an ulterior motive. And how do we change that culture?
That's largely because, okay, I'll talk as a Muslim, that's largely because some of us now started to prescribe the kind of kindness you would do. So if you are looking for wealth, they will say, there was one told me, said you give sugar, you give salt. I was like, since when did giving have a description? You know, but that thing I just talked about, in fact, when I was on bed rest, I have a book of series I was going to produce, written on that alone. You know, you want to get married. I started seeing that. When I joined the show, someone sent me a DM on Facebook asking me that, do you have a far? So that protection, sadaka ewa loto. You know, they sort of just adulterated the Islam I grew up with so much, and that's why we're where we are today. Because people now are popular. Those things are popular. People are making those things normal, and then they question everybody. Giving never used to have barriers, and for Islam, it doesn't. But we started seeing people prescribing for all sorts of things because of their trying to make money, control people's minds. So it's like you need protection you need kinikon one. All those things. If you are a giver, God will grace you, will bless you. That's all.
Well, you the receiver. Can you just therefore go and just accept anything without saying, I don't want to use my glory for this thing?
I don't understand where that comes from. Your glory is so important. Yes. You know, I don't see it. I just feel that, as you said, I'll blame religion partly for it, or the interpretation of religion partly for this, because you are now being told that you give to receive something. So people receiving would know that, okay, so if I'm receiving, what am I receiving for? I have been somewhere where they were preparing to throw a party in their house, and the matriarch of the house came and saw how they cut the meat big, big. She was like, how can you cut this meat big, big? You want people to say we are being proud, we are being arrogant, or we are trying to do something. Even in her giving, she was being careful so that she does not get all sorts of fake, negative feedback. People have to now watch what they say because of the way we talk. But I think that we should just accept good when it's done. If it's about glory, the people in America that have shelters, and how many glories do they steal? I mean, you just open a market of, give me your glory, I have a plate of rice.
When we come back, we're going to take a few calls and then we'll wrap up on this. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this issue of not trusting each other anymore. What has the world come to? You know, what have we become where people want to extend kindness and therefore is misconstrued for evil? I will try to get some messages. Mariam, do you have any messages for us?
Yes. So someone says that the glory matter top, they happen. Don't ignore it. Blessing diverters, Deo. So that means they actually believe that some people would give you kindness so that they can take your glory. I don't know how it works. But, you know, I think kindness, giving, has taken on a different meaning. I grew up thinking that you gave or you give because in appreciation of what God has already done. Not really in anticipation of what you want God to do for you. He's done so much for you, you cannot count it all. And this is my way of sort of, you know, passing it on, giving it forward, not because I'm giving this so that God will bless me. He's already blessed me.
So religion amplified that part of, okay, well, because you are giving, you will get back. Yes. So they magnify that so much that we now focus on the fact that we have a lot already.
Yes. And we forget the reason we're able to give is because He's already done so much. It's not necessarily because when I give now, there's going to be a payback, and then I sit down and be counting. I give this person 10 naira, I give this person 5 naira, so I should start getting my blessings back. And I guess that is why those who are receiving it are also thinking, okay, if you are giving me, why are you giving me? What is it that you are asking for that you want from me? But I don't believe that anyone has the power to just grab your destiny or grab your glory with food. It's not possible.
Let me take this call from
gift.
Paul. Paul, are you there from Ikeja?
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. You're live.
I'm very happy to get you today.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Getting you is like, it's easier to get American visa than to get you from Paul. I've been trying for more than 10 years now.
Wow.
More than 10 years.
The show is going to be 8 years.
So why do people discuss so many important issues?
Yes.
My question is, does our leaders listen to this program?
Yes.
The solutions are being proffered to how to make the country better, but they don't listen. But when you say a bad one, that's when they pick it. Why are we so unfortunate to have this kind of leaders? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Like the topic you are discussing this morning is very interesting. It's just that my pastor used to tell me that do not pray to be a beggar or a receiver, rather be a giver. If you find yourself to be that people are giving to you, that means you are not doing well or you are not a giver. You can't be a giver, a receiver. So when you work hard, you will be the one giving to people. When you have enough, you don't have to wait for people to give you. I said, if you are spirit-filled, when somebody wants to give you, you have a design spirit to know whether it's fetish or not. So we cannot say because people are bad, we stop giving. No. Giving is life. God himself.
Thank you, Mr. Paul. I remember a movie that I watched, and the woman was advising. I mean, somebody was part of this money ritual thing. So what the woman was trying to tell, I remember the conversation where she was telling the guy that your friend who is poor, he doesn't have money, suddenly wakes up tomorrow and says, I want to throw a big party, and he has this big party. Can't you be discerning? Because in the story, they already used him or whatever. They maybe took his glory or whatever. So they were reviewing what happened. And said that, you have of course, that you're probably. So somebody who doesn't have money, wake up tomorrow and say, I'm doing this big party and invite you. He went there and he went to go and eat. How can you go and eat? He doesn't have money. How did he get money to go and buy cow?
I hope he was not
Where did he
selling
get money? So is that perspective that Nollywood brings to you? And another thing is, anytime you are in real life, somebody invites you, and I start thinking, can he really afford this party?
Yeah.
What exactly? The one Baba tell him to go and carry cow and come and use us for, So these are the real conversations in our own Nigerian context.
Let me add that to your context. This person's message, Benedicta Dayton says, for me, I would say we should not blame religion. We have our own minds irrespective of what the pastors say. Growing up, remember how our parents say, don't take things from strangers.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel that that's a different kind of conversation. The first one, the story you just brought up, you should question where the person got their money from that they're able to throw a party. And because we always blame it on glory stealers and glory thieves and whatever, we don't ask the question, was he a drug dealer? Has he sold drugs? Is he a kidnapper? Is he a hoodlum, a bandit? Is he, is he an armed robber? Instead of just thinking that they have now gotten your glory. Because first of all, where did he get the money to do that? When we now start asking that kind of question, in our real life, when people display wealth that we cannot trace, we will question them and we investigate it. But we will not just say that they have used someone for a ritual, even if there's no ritual, and now let the person go because we cannot, we don't want to ask, the important questions.
Right. Let me take Jane, our last call on this. Jane, are you there? Jane, you're live. Go ahead, please.
First time caller.
Welcome to the show.
Another one.
Thank you. I'm really enjoying it. I love your program.
Thank you, madam.
I will say to a giver, continue to be a giver. Don't get discouraged by what people say. And just like the last caller said, also when you are collecting, especially when it has to do with things you eat, we should have discernment. Yes, for you to eat or eat. But as a giver, continue to give.
Thank you so much. Jane just reminded me of something. There was a time on TV, one of my mentors, I don't know if she's watching TV. The time we got on TV, somebody gave us goat meat. Somebody gave us really nice goat meat, and they put it on set. And while we were so excited to end the show, and we just started eating. My mentor quickly called me, Murayo. Is that you've not eaten meat before in your life? We saw your camera eating the meat. You didn't even pray. I didn't even know that you pray. I said, oops, that you must pray because you never know why they're sending you meat. And I'm thinking, hey, Madaro, I like food like this. You're constantly eating. So that's just on the side.
So
go ahead,
Africans, we've always questioned us. If a relative visits your house, dies, and then the next month you throw a party, you use that person.
Yes.
In Africans, that's how we believe. You have used that person. Grace must not fall your way after the loss of a child or your parents. You must not buy a house, buy a car. So that's
a neighbor. Not even a family, but even a neighbor.
So you must not. Grace must not fall on you after a bereavement. It means that something is fishy.
Yeah.
But let me take John Ibinu's comment. He says, "I'm sure you have heard of Owo Anabo before, where they give you money, and because it touches your other money, it takes away all the monies within the same bundle he touched. I don't subscribe to the suspicious people, but sometimes caution is needed. As Christians, that's why there is the need for the Holy Spirit to speak to us or have the spirit of discernment. Some abuse the intention of giving. It exists, and so we shouldn't throw it away. So this is what I do practically. If I have to pray at your house before I start eating, as I have to pray,
yes,
I will never eat at your house. There's no point. Why are you even visiting the house where you don't make trust? So it's your friend's place that you go, your friend's parties that you go. It is your friends who extend love and giving to you. So there's no, I don't believe that. If you don't see me at your house or at your party or anything, then you can I can't be seated there. They're serving food.
But people will say that it's people who are, it's those who are really close to you that can betray you. Yeah. So that's why some people make.
Anyway, we have to wrap up on this, but it's an interesting perspective. It's an interesting conversation to have because that's the reality, and it's important that kindness, no matter what you do, God understands kindness, and He sees it from the heart. It's not about what you're giving; it comes from within. When He sees the motive, and there's a belief that I have that. Me that I'm busy because I know I like food. I say, Father Lord, because you know I like food, just because you know my own heart is clean. Yeah, whatever it is, Father, let it go back to sender. So me, I eat. I eat. I thank God for the food. I don't stop food.
It's rich people that
but let us.
Poor people.
That is all we can take on this second. We come back. We have a very, very special guest who will be joining the ladies on an interesting conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.